about this a little bit off air about some of the microfractures that can come off of this, but just what's your take on this?
Well, I think we might be seeing more of this because, as was pointed out in the article, this is like the third major slaughterhouse to have big outbreaks of COVID-19. There was 2 others in Pennsylvania. And let me also say that this is not the biggest Smithfield one. The biggest Smithfield plant is actually in North Carolina. But this one is
I didn't know
significant
that.
because they have plants all over the place. And of course, I think we all know this virus originated with animals. So I would think that people who are involved, the more involved you are with animal products, the more likely you are to get this virus. And I think it's going to be a big deal. It's going to reduce the supply of animal products, which will hopefully transition people over to plant products.
Mhm. Do you think that the connection is necessarily that it's animal products? Do you think that this is going to be like that? We're not going to see an issue with like some of the, because I feel like there's a potential that people are just contracting the virus, and let's say like Beyond Meat or Gardein like workers could be next, and it could be a mix of like, of course, we know where the virus originated and the story behind that, but like just that precautions weren't taken soon enough, or some of these places they just, again, because they didn't see any cases or a bunch of cases or something like that. Now all of a sudden they are, and it's this huge shock. But we know how the virus works in the incubation period. So do you think that we might see, something like this start to happen inside of other industries? Because it's pretty scary to think about that.
Well, I suppose anytime you got a large number of folks hanging out together, right? And especially one where you've got animal products, and of course they're bringing in animals to their plant to process, and these animals are unfortunately not healthy. We all know that the biggest user of antibiotics is animal farms because these animals are sick. And I think that it'll be concentrated for sure in these types of industries, but anybody who's in close contact, as we know, we have the social distancing, we have to keep away.
Yeah, definitely. I think it said that this is a cool stat from that same article. It did say that fresh vegan meat sales, or faux meats, or whatever you call them, have spiked by 206.4% and 279.8% in the first and second week of March, respectively. So I can only imagine that that's gone up pretty drastically.
Oh yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. So on to our next story, which is this one also was from VegNews.com, as reported, the same reporter, Anna S. And this is one that's kind of been brewing for a while. It's showing back up probably more and more now with everything that's happening. But Virginia governor rejects a bill to censor vegan milk labels. And this was basically saying that in Virginia, that of all these bills that were brought up, it was to basically not allow you to call vegan milk. So dig into this a little bit. Shed some light on this, man.
All right, it's called the Dairy Pride Act of 2019, and it keeps getting revitalized. It was brought up in the past, where it's an effort where an industry realizes that they are starting to suffer, meaning that the traditional animal product dairy industry is starting to suffer. Like you said, plant alternatives are seeing big increases, and the traditional dairy animal-based product industries are seeing decreases. So they're trying to hold on to their market share, and one of the ways they're doing that is by telling people that they cannot use the word milk or cheese or ice cream or whatever is a traditional dairy word in anything that doesn't have actual dairy animal product in it. So that's the whole idea behind this, is preservation of an industry. And what they're saying specifically in the new language, in the way this bill is written, is that the plant products are not nutritionally equivalent to the animal products, which is correct. Okay, they're not. Okay, but my thinking is, if they're going to push this hard and say you can't use those words on your plant products, we should also be pushing to say, if any of these products are harmful, let's label them as harmful. And I believe we do have enough evidence scientifically to label animal product, dairy products as harmful. So.
Yeah, again, off air, we were talking a little bit about this. You wonder why you don't see any of those milk ads that say milk does a body good. Well, it's simple. They're legally not allowed to say that anymore, because that's actually scientifically been proven to be false. So it always drives me crazy when I see these athletes and they're like sponsored by milk, and they're like, when I have to work out, I'm like, what? You're taking in milk with inflamed joints. after intense physical exercise, and you're now going to put something in your body that's proven to inflame your gut and joints more. Crazy thing. Two quick points that I wanted to give on this is the first, that what the bill was aimed at, and they were the bill itself. It was aimed to limit the definition of milk to be a lacteal secretion of a healthy hooved mammal, and made only one exception in allowing human breast milk to use the term. So for years and years, decades and decades, I mean, people have been calling other things oat milk and soy milk. These are not new things, right? Almond milk. These are not new things. But now, when you start to see that threat, and so they've got to kind of put this label on it. And the last thing I wanted to kind of add before I feel we might even be on this a while, was the Dairy Pride Act. Here's like the actual definition of it from the BaldwinStateSenate.gov. Dairy Pride Act would require the FDA to issue guidance for nationwide enforcement of mislabeled imitation dairy products within 90 days, and require the FDA to report to Congress 2 years after enactment to hold the agency accountable for this update and enforcement obligation. So my question at that is, what exactly is imitation? Again, then you go back to what that article said, is they're trying to define it as coming from a mammal or being breast milk.
Well, I get it. I get the imitation thing. I mean, it is kind of laughable.
Yeah.
On one way, but on the other way, I'm like, do I really want plant products that are most likely beneficial to the human body to be associated with animal dairy products, which are known to cause health problems?
That's a pretty crazy. I'll be honest. I haven't thought about it like that. Like, why are we trying to make a plant-based product the same? I hadn't thought of it like that. That's a cool.
That's what I'm thinking. If the dairy industry is pushing for this, animal product dairy industry is pushing for this, well, we should be pushing for labeling those products as harmful, like they do cigarettes, right?
Yeah, it's kind of mind blowing that you would think. It's almost like, oh, cool, let them have it. Let them have milk then. Cool, we'll just call it something else. But y'all stuff is going to be labeled just like you said, just like cigarettes. So a couple questions on top of this. What is your favorite go-to plant-based milk?
Yeah. Well, now it's oat milk. I'd say it's always been soy. I'd say, and I tend to go with organic soy. But now the oat, I think, is even better. But between the two, it's hard to choose sometimes.
Yeah. There are a lot of really, really good ones. I think that oat or the soy conversation always comes up with people who are just have been a little bit misinformed or are learning, and there's that fear factor that's out there. But I mean, just like I've spoken about, I've seen a lot of the doctors that you've had out as well say the exact same things that, and there are a lot of really cool studies too, just with people running experiments on themselves on YouTube, plant-based bodybuilders and getting testosterone levels. Like, there's some really crazy stuff I think that people think about soy being harmful. Same thing for me, like soy, like give it to me, like give me the protein, like all that.
Yeah.
I can't think of the one. I haven't bought it in a while, but it's one that I was always recommending to people that they try as their first plant-based milk. And it was one that previously was only sold at Target, but it had 8 grams of protein per serving, and it had twice the amount of vitamin D, twice the amount of calcium than regular milk did.
Was it a cashew maybe?
Yeah, no. So yeah, there's that almond cashew one, and that one has 10 grams. We just got that one again last week.
Okay.
But it's another one. I can't think of what it is. It was from yellow chickpeas. It was from yellow peas.
Okay. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Is it still available? I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it is still. I just haven't bought it as much because before I would rely so much on trying to make that's when I was looking for innovative ways to make sure I was getting more protein. Yeah. Now when I buy plant-based milks that have the protein content, I use it so much more sparingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know the soy in general has a little bit higher, so I kind of go with that. Although protein really isn't that much of an issue, but if you're an athlete, then it can be an issue. So
yeah. I think that and you've heard me. I guess I'll just mention a little bit here. You've heard me say it so many times, but 240, 250 pounds plant-based. I was having less than 120, most days less than 100 grams of protein, and I was stronger than I'd ever been. So I think that was like that huge eye opener for me that, okay, you're already breaking the mold by trying to experiment with this plant-based lifestyle. You don't have to keep trying so hard to do all the things that you used to and get all the protein. You don't, because
habit breaking. Yeah, it's ingrained because you've done it for so long, but
yeah,
you don't have to do it. Yeah.
The human body's amazing. You know what I mean? So, so our third story is about Abu Dhabi invests $100 million in plant-based indoor farm. So you got a little bit deeper into this one than I did. This one was reported from livekindly.co. I can't find the actual writer who, I think it's Kat Smith. I believe so, senior editor out of New York City. Hope she's doing all right. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, on this one, I mean, I'm always looking for what's next, what's more the future of things. And I think that indoor farming is probably the future of farming. It's hard to replace the actual sun, okay? Because if you really get into indoor farming, the actual sun is like nothing else, and it makes those plants grow and develop in a way that maybe can't quite be reproduced with artificial light, because whenever you go indoors, you got to have artificial light. But technology is improving, right? Things keep getting better. Just like the first computers and cell phones were horrible when they first came out, right? They're way better now. And I think that this is a technology item. I think that indoor farming, eventually, you won't have to worry about so much the weather. Although if a tornado destroys the building, then you have to worry about that. But that's the only thing you have to worry. You take a lot of things out of the equation. You could farm anywhere. You could farm in the coldest climate, the warmest climate, the rainiest climate, the driest climate. Doesn't make any difference as long as you're doing it right with the right techniques and the right fertilizers. I know some of this is mentioned in that article. Those also need to be developed more. I think that we need to be able to do it using more natural composted fertilizers or composted soils. And we haven't quite gotten to that point. But just the fact that people are investing huge amounts of money into this is a great thing for me to see.
Yeah. So let's I'll give a little bit of a backdrop. I'll read a short blurb. So Abu Dhabi Investment Office is actually backing 4 agricultural technical companies. So I'll break them down now. So there's a vertical farming startup, Madar Farms, or Madar, I'm not sure how to say it. So they're going to construct a tomato farm. A New Jersey-based company, Aero Farms, is going to build an R&D center. Florida representative Drip Irrigation is developing the irrigation system for growing plants in sandy soil. So the Abu Dhabi-based startup R&Z is creating more potent fertilizers. So this is a part of a larger investment that's actually $272 million, supporting the development of ag tech products such as indoor farming and some other stuff. And I think it all comes back to, due to the lack of arable land and high temperatures that Abu Dhabi has, they've got to find other ways. Because that's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, I mean, I know they have the sun, you know, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They have to import most of their food, according to what that article says. Almost all of it.
Yeah.
You can't grow it there.
So I've been out to some of the farms and seen kind of what they're doing. What's so different from having it be fully indoor, to what are some of those main drawbacks that you see? I mean, I know you mentioned some of the stuff with the soil and stuff like that, but I just feel like technology.
That's right now. Yeah, right now, those are the drawbacks because it's a technology item. So it hasn't fully developed, which is why most people aren't using it now. But I think that when it is developed, it's going to prove way better than growing outside, because even growing outside means that we have to tear up that natural environment, for agriculture. Permaculture is better than agriculture, but on a large scale, it's all agriculturally done. And then we've got a lot of buildings, like even what we're going through right now with COVID-19. People are saying that may cause the collapse of the commercial real estate market. And if it does, we already have huge amounts of buildings that are vacant. We're going to have even bigger amounts of large buildings that are vacant, which can all be utilized and repurposed for this type of a plant production, basically.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. They kind of touch a little bit on this as well. Just thinking of it, I think I can't remember who I was talking to, but just talking about how, technological advances happen, in these short periods of time. It's like, I can only imagine the amount of stuff that's going to come out of the next few years that stemmed from what happened in the last 6 months. You know what I mean? Because people they're forced. Number one, they're forced, right? And number two, for lack of better words, have time to be creative
Right,
without,
right.
without other things, you know what I mean? Without other things kind of blocking you
Yeah.
off. So they actually say like, is this the future of farming? And they said that, that this is going to be a part of the solution on how to actually better utilize water and how farms can be more efficient. So that's,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other
crazy.
thing. When you control more of the process, you're able to become more efficient. And you want to, because in a situation like this where you're talking about indoors, you're going to have to pay for and bring in all these resources in order to grow those plants. They might be available naturally, maybe on a farm, but not usually. You still have to supplement, you still have to water your plants a lot of times and bring in other things, bring in soil supplements. But you're going
Yeah.
to be a lot more hyper focused on making it more efficient when you're bringing it all into a building like that.
Now, when it comes to like topsoil, you know, I know that's a big thing for us because like I think it's like half the topsoil on the planet's been lost in the last 150 years, right? And it takes, I'm not even gonna throw a number out. Maybe you actually know, but it's an insane amount of time to even start to get that back. Does
Yes.
this indoor farming stuff kind of help with some of that? Because like you said, we're not causing an uproot in the land.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say. I mean, if we're not going to use it, if we're going to take away land that we use the outdoor land that we would use for traditional agriculture, a lot of traditional agriculture isn't done right, which is why I mean, it's not just animal products are the worst for the land. Second worst is plants done wrong. Okay, a lot of plants done wrong, meaning not organic methods, because you're just doing it the cheapest way you can, using as many chemicals as you can to reduce the labor factor, and you really don't have any end focus on what's the soil going to look like in 20 years when you're done, because no one's concerned about that. There's no regulations on that. It's a hidden cost, right? People just want to produce cheap now, but with this will bring more emphasis, I think, on just bringing back the soils. I would hope. If it's done wrong, it still may be just the cheapest way to go. Okay, but there's an opportunity there for us to focus on that, like you mentioned. I hope that people will. I only hope.
Yeah. I guess one of the parting things, and there's actually so many good things. We'll make sure that we share all these articles because there's actually some good stuff. Growing underground, it says that a company growing greens in an old World War II bunker beneath London uses 75% less water than traditional farming. So we'll just end on that note right there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're running short on time too.
Yeah.
We gotta get.
How much more time do we have?
I think we only have about 10 minutes or less.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So we'll be sending this one out. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna share my screen so we can let everybody see this. But here we go. Yeah. So we're gonna be sending this one out. But one emphasis that we really did want to make was just being able to share some fun and healthy recipes. My girlfriend, she actually just did one that was, what was it? Taco? Yeah, it was hard shell tacos. And it was so good. So it kind of got me thinking about that a little more. And then it's Tuesday. So this is actually one that we that we chose for you guys, which is cauliflower tinga tacos. So it's super simple. It's not anything crazy for you guys to make. You don't need a ton of ingredients. But we'll be sharing this recipe out for you guys to give a try to inspire some healthy recipes. Mike, what's your favorite go-to recipe?
Well, okay, in terms of a recipe, you're talking about like a meal?
Yeah, let's say like a meal. Yeah.
Well, I'd say we just made it yesterday. It's actually my wife's favorite. It's like a macaroni and cheese, basically plant-based macaroni and cheese. And we've actually got that on our plantbaseddiet.org website under recipes. It's there. It's the only one that actually has the recipe. The rest of our stuff's all links, but that's it. Mac and cheese. Everybody loves mac and cheese, I think. So, yeah.
What do you guys use for the cheese? Cashews?
It's all made. It's all in the. You got to look at the recipe. Actually, I think it's nut based. It's actually nutritional yeast based.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, you got to check the recipe out. It's not only is it plant-based vegan mac and cheese, but we also think it's one of the healthiest versions of that you can do. And I will tell you, if you ever go do it and you put the cheese sauce in with the noodles after you're done, sometimes it's a little watery, but I've found to fix that, all you gotta do is cook it in the pot a little bit more with the cheese sauce in, turn a little heat on, so it evaporates the water, and it looks just like your regular dairy, cheese, which is not healthy for you, like we talked about.
I like it. I like it. Awesome, man. I'm gonna definitely have to go and try that out. All right, what we got next here? Cup some water.
All right. Well, let's see the health topic of the day, right? We want to talk about something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Marcus, you got some pointers for us, I guess, on that, right?
Yeah, for the health topic of the day, we really wanted to focus on this week of getting enough sleep, which is kind of weird to say, right? Because people have so much more time, and it's like, you don't have to be, not like you can go to the gym, so you don't have to, but I spoke to some people on Twitter, and people were just speaking about how, they weren't getting a good quality of sleep. They were staying up later, so they were sleeping later, and there's kind of some things that run together with that. So I just kind of want to give some tips on getting enough sleep, some things that might help you guys. And the first one was, it's easy to stay up late in these times. So maybe start setting like a time that you want to start winding down and getting ready for bed. We'll touch on this a little bit more. It's super important for you guys to get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. For those of you that don't, when you start to continuously, you will notice how amazing your body feels, right? So try working out or like expending energy in projects throughout the day to kind of help tire you out. Maybe like going for walks during your calls. Like most of my calls that I'm on, I try to not sit down. I try to like walk around the neighborhood, so I'm getting a lot of steps. If you aren't working out, obviously that'll help. If you're working out and it's still not helping, maybe do a little bit more, because your body's just so awake. It doesn't feel the need to shut down. Therefore, your serotonin levels, which like keep you alert, are going to always stay high. And sleep only happens in the absence of serotonin, right? You're able to fall asleep. So another thing is tracking your sleep quality. So Apple Watch, Fitbit, whatever it might be. Yeah, exactly. I'm very serious about tracking everything when it comes to that. I'm not playing around. I want to know what level of sleep I was in. There are a lot of affordable ones. You can go super crazy, but those are going to be big helps, because you'll start to know, when am I going to sleep? How much am I waking up? And your quality of sleep.
Yeah, and these devices, it has to be one that you strap to your wrist, right?
Yeah.
To do the sleep part.
Yeah.
Some of them clip to your belt and they won't do sleep, right?
No, yeah, exactly. And like, I literally wear mine when I sleep, and so I can know when I'm in REM sleep, when I'm not, and when I'm in light sleep and things like that. The last one is, if you're struggling to get sleep, use what I call sleep hygiene. We'll probably talk a little bit more about this in the future, but you just want to do things like turning down the lights and playing some soft music, maybe doing some meditation.
Blackout shades?
Definitely blackout shades. You know what I'm saying? And just things that are going to just, again, help you to relax and bring your serotonin levels down so you can fall asleep. But yeah, getting enough sleep is huge.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wish I could get 10. I can't quite seem to get 10. I get between 8 and 9 on a great night, but I can't quite get to that.
that 10 is epic. I don't hit that 10 that much either, but it's definitely great when you get it.
But like you were saying with the numbers, if you got one of these watches and it's keeping track, when you go to the app, you might think that you slept 10 hours. Like, oh, I went to bed at 10 p.m. and I woke up at 8 a.m. But you probably didn't sleep the whole time. So like when you get that number, you're going to get the actual number that you were actually asleep on, which is not going to be what you think it is.
Very true. Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah, well, those are some great pointers. Yeah, so anyway, I absolutely get the sleep. That's going to help boost your immune system too, optimize your immune system. Right now, that's all you can do is work on that immune system to try to keep this COVID-19 from doing anything to you if you happen to get it. Hopefully you won't get it, but if you do. All right, well, let's get into that last topic, which is lifestyle improvement goal of the week. We want to have a takeaway action that you guys can do.
Yeah. So I thought that this was a great idea that you came up with, Mike. And so the lifestyle improvement goal for this week is just staying in motion. So obviously the easiest way would be to like have like some type of workout plan that maybe, and we're not talking like an hour. It doesn't need to necessarily be that. Sometimes it's just getting up and just going in the garage and moving for 10 minutes, like 5 push-ups, 5 squats, 5 jumping jacks, and just moving. And maybe sometimes you're going to do that 2-3 times a day. But just, you got to find something that just gets you in motion. And as you do that, your body's you're going to start to be able to recognize a lot of things. Hips bothering you, shoulder bothering, tightness. Maybe that'll push you to start doing some yoga, or you'll just start loosening up in general. So I'm actually going to have a 7-day like free challenge that people can do, which maybe we'll have together next week, or we'll send out via email. But just stay in motion. Go for walks when you're on your calls. Try not to sit around as much. Do whatever you can to just be moving. Right now, there's curfew and you can't do certain things, but just doing what you can will be great for your body in these crazy times.
All right, yeah, and that's it. Moving will help to optimize that immune system, right? I mean, that aerobic exercise that's another factor, right? Because I've been talking to a lot of people about this recently, and sleep's a factor, movement's a factor, food is the biggest factor, I think, but all these things matter. And I think that the movement also, correct me if I'm wrong, but it helps with your mental state, right? I mean,
Insanely, yes. Definitely, especially with all the stress and all these things. I sent out an email specifically talking about the stress levels and how they can both be helped by physical activity, but stress can also make it tough for you to get quality exercise and workouts. And so it's a crazy thing. But anything that we can do to help relieve that stress, and yeah, being in motion is one of them.
Okay, well, that's it. I'm going to keep moving. I got to start getting a treadmill desk so we can do this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. When we do this,
yeah. Moving.
I love it, man. So
because we are sitting still, and this is a challenge. This is a challenge for everybody out there. I know because of the fact that we're all kind of having to quarantine or keep away from people and stay at home. There's more sitting than ever, right? And so it couldn't be more timely talking about that right now. So I really hope you guys can do it and just find something to keep you moving. Anything really, just standing up instead of sitting down. Like I can't stand up now. You won't see me.
Right. Yeah.
We should work that into the next show.
We should. Yeah. I like it, man.
All right.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. I think that's what we got, right? I mean, we covered all the bases here for this week, and next week we'll keep on top of the top stories and everything that's happening, that's going to help you guys out for next week. So stay tuned wherever you're watching it now. You'll see it again next week, right?
Yep, exactly. And look out if you're not on the email list. We'll put it here next week, but we'll have like I said, that free 7-day Get Moving program and just help people as any ways that we can. So, and we'll be sharing all those articles and all that stuff. So,
all right. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Later.